The history of civilization is the history of the education of mankind. From the beginning, we needed some way of accumulating and recording our culture and technological advances. Because first-hand experience in everyday living could not teach skills such as writing, reading, and math, a place devoted exclusively to learning, the school appeared and has become a foundational part of a progressive society. Children around the world now enjoy the right and also have the responsibility to go to school, but in some parts of the world, they are fighting and even dying for this right. Malala Yousafzai is a leader in educational rights. She speaks out for the rights of girls and all children to attend school and to get an education. Despite the fact that in 2012, at 15 years of age, she was shot in the head by the Taliban for speaking up for girls' educational rights in her native Pakistan. Her legacy of peace and education for all is gaining momentum today. Pakistan is a country in South Asia bordered by India, Afghanistan, China, and Iran. Previously home to many cultures, Pakistan has been ruled by different empires and dynasties. Islam, the principal religion, was introduced in the 11th century. Taliban, a word originally meaning student. They are a fundamentalist Islamic militia rooted in the strict adherence to Islamic law or Sharia law. In the 1990s, the Taliban grew more and more violent and extreme in their interpretation of Islam. This is at the heart of the struggle for girls for education in Pakistan. Malala Yousafzai was born July 12, 1997, in Pakistan. She grew up in the Swat Valley, a place with green mountains and beautiful waterfalls. Her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, founded and operated a school in Swat, and she grew up having a great value and love for education. She was always excited to compete for top marks with her friends. As she was growing up, she watched her father, a devout Muslim, speak up for the education of girls in Pakistan.
To open the schools on gunpoint, and on the other hand, the militant Taliban, they are going to close it on the gunpoint. So education is something it can't afford such a tight security situation.
But the Taliban continued to grow in strength. Their extremism brought terror and fear to Swat. People would be publicly punished if they did not adhere to their interpretation of Sharia law. Women would be beaten if they were seen in public unescorted by their husband or male relative. The governmental officials who spoke out against the Taliban were beheaded and left in the town square. And on January 15, 2007, girls were ordered to stop attending school. Hundreds of schools were blown up. Malala was asked by the BBC to participate in an anonymous radio diary so that the world could learn firsthand of the struggle of the schoolgirls in Pakistan. She was also featured in a documentary made by the New York Times.
But I see a great potential in my daughter, that she can do more than a doctor. She can create a society where a medical student would be easily able to get her doctorate degree.
She began receiving death threats, but spoke out anyway. The Taliban's terror increased, and Malala and thousands of others had to leave their home in Swat. In 2009, the Pakistani military efforts to banish the Taliban was successful, and they proclaimed that the Taliban was out of Swat. People returned to their homes, and Malala found her school damaged but still standing. Her father gathered the teachers and school began again, but there was always that fear that the Taliban were still there, hiding in the shadows. Malala continued to speak out for the rights of girls to be educated.
I will get my education if it is in home, school, or any place.
The Taliban leaders who were still in the region were angered and voted to kill Malala. On October 9, 2012, Malala and her friends were ready to go home from school. Suddenly, a young gunman member of the Taliban got on their bus. He asked the girls which one of them was Malala, and then he shot.
Fired three bullets, and one hit you on the left side of my head.
She was shot at point-blank range, but survived. The incident drew worldwide attention of this girl's bravery to stand up to the Taliban and to speak up for girls' education even in the face of threats. She recovered, and the incident made her stronger.
So here I stand, one girl among many. I speak not for myself, but for those without voice can be heard. Those who have fought for their rights. Their right to live in peace. Their right to be treated with dignity. Their right to equality of opportunity. Their right to be educated. Dear friends, on the 9th of October 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullet would silence us, but they failed. And out of that silence came thousands of voices. The terrorists thought that they would change my aims and stop my ambitions. But nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born.
Malala Yousafzai is the recipient of numerous awards for speaking out for the rights of all children to go to school. She won the National Youth Peace Prize, the Mother Teresa Memorial Award for Social Justice, and in 2014 became a co-recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. She is the recipient of over 20 other awards, and she is only 17 years old. Her assassination attempt drew worldwide attention and caused over 2 million people to sign a petition that led to Pakistan's Right to Education Bill. But her fight is not exclusive to Pakistan.
And across Africa and all over the world, I want to say, don't let anyone tell you that you are weaker than or less than anything. You are not less than a boy. You are not less than a child from a richer family or a richer country. You are the future of your country. You are going to build up your nation. You are going to build up your country. And you are stronger than anything, and you can lead the change.
But not all Pakistanis view her as a hero. Some see her as aligning with Westerners out to shame her country and religion. Bookstores in Peshawar refused to sell her book I Am Malala after receiving death threats. Malala and her father created the Malala Fund, which invests in small organizations that are led by local leaders. They've provided over $300,000 for schools in Syria, Nigeria, Gaza, and Pakistan. But maybe her legacy is a seed, planted in the mind of a new generation that shows the strength of human spirit, that we will no longer allow ignorance and terror to control our lives. The youth of the world are beginning to speak up against oppression from militant religious groups and sometimes their own government.
I know that there are young people in this audience, and I'm hopeful that you will contribute to this campaign and you will be the ones who are going to bring the change, and you are going to be the next Martin Luther King Jr.'s, and you are going to be the activists who are going to bring change, and you are going to be the Nelson Mandela. So I should not lose hope, you should not lose hope, and we should be hopeful, and we can bring the change through education. So thank you so much.
The world is watching as Malala Yousafzai begins to leave her legacy for generations to come.
Nor does it get made up by itself. It is we who make the history. It is we who become the history. Let us make history and bring change by becoming a change. Let us not forget. Let us not forget that one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world.